In this session, the first speaker will tell us a game-changing perspective. The speaker is visiting professor of Seoul National University, Hyunsil An, and the topic of this session is evolution of the digital content industry. Please welcome the speaker with a big round of applause. I'm an economist. At first, I didn't understand why the Korea Copyright Commission invited me to this conference as a speaker, but thank you so much for having me. And Jinyoung Lee from Stanford, she asked us to summarize my presentation in one sentence, but I couldn't do it because my presentation slides are too long, so I apologize. I think it's my fault. The title of my presentation today is A Game-Changing Perspective, the Evolution of the Digital Content Industry. I heard this is an international conference, so I thought I should write my presentation in English, and the commission translated my slides into Korean. So I don't know which one is right, but once again, thank you so much for providing my presentation in both English and Korean. Let me begin my presentation. Maybe my presentation is a little bit off the points of the previous speakers and the next speakers, but I hope you enjoy my perspective. This is a book called Karl Marx, Capitalism. Some people say this changed the course of human history. Capitalism, socialism, and democracy. These topics were dealt by Schumpeter, and he presents a little different perspective from Karl Marx. But what's the difference between the two authors when they look at capitalism? This is my personal perspective. I think Karl Marx advocated a destructive creation, while Joseph Schumpeter argued creative destruction. These two are polar opposite. They are totally different from each other. We are talking about hyperscale AI. And if you are asked to decide whether hyperscale AI is a destructive creation or creative destruction, which one will be your answer? As you can see here, over 50 years or up to 7 decades, you have been presented with this long cycle when it comes to capitalism. And this cycle was named after a Russian economist. Most economists do not buy this cycle, but no one can say for sure that this cycle is wrong and not correct. That is why this cycle has been cited among researchers and professors. Let's take a look at the tail. I think this is where we are positioned now. I think this is where we are witnessing hyperscale AI. That's my guess. Jinno Masafumi. He can be considered as a historic evangelist. He wrote a book called Game Changer in Japanese. I'm not sure whether it is translated into English. And he dealt with the birth of the humanity up until now. Especially he focused on game-changing events. Let's take a look at them. There are 10 game-changing events. And the commission translated the 10 principles into Korean, and I like them pretty much. Number one is once a game change happens, there's no turning back. Number two, Anyone who goes against the flow of history, whether it be an individual or a company, is lost without exception. Number three, a new hegemonic power emerges between a game change and another game change. Number four, emerging knowledge before the game change becomes common knowledge after the game change. Number five, what is needed for game change is not invention itself, but commercialization and dissemination. That means you have to use it. Number six, once something unprecedented succeeds, it becomes a precedent and results in a game change. Number seven is interesting. There is emergence of new knowledge. Liberation of knowledge necessarily triggers game change. Number eight is also interesting. A new wave that triggers a game change always happens on the frontier. The Commission translated the frontier into something advanced, but it is actually frontier. And number nine is when a game change occurs, reactionary forces emerge that refuse to understand or accept it, and artificially it tries to reverse it. Reactionary forces, when you hear that word, you may be reminded of communism. And number 10, it's not the size of the event, but the unprecedented signs of it that triggers a game change. And something that is unfit, you may consider it as a noise, but it is important to have a signal to track or trace the noise. I'm telling you these 10 principles of game change because I want to share with you the game change cases that are next on the next slide. These are the historic game change cases presented by the author you saw on the previous slide. Number one was agriculture. I will give you time to read them. So let's pick what is related to content. That is number 4, paper and booklets, and number 9, printing and reformation. They brought knowledge liberation. And number 10, number 11, industrial revolution. And number 15, internet. Number 16, animation. And I said, and then, that means there is more. And the author didn't predict hyperscale AI. Hyperscale is a strong candidate for historic game change cases following internet and innovation. We are shifting from analog to digital, from generative AI to hyperscale AI. You already heard about them a lot from the previous speakers. This is a hypercurve introduced by Gartner. What is at the peak is hyper AI, and there is something called foundation model or LLM. So we are at the peak. Let's follow the curve. Once you reach the peak, you will go down and you will go through adjustment, and then you will go up again to be more productive. What is at the far right? computer vision. If you have ever visited a smart factory, you can call it a vision smart factory. It is safe to call it smart vision factory. So we are on this hill. So adjustment has just started. And Professor Myung-Joo Kim said this curve, and he also told us about how long it took for ChatGPT's 1 million users to be achieved and gained. When the whole market is 100, there is a 2.5% of a maniac or enthusiasts. They are followed by early birds. In combined, if they are combined, they account for 60% of the market. And U.S. has a strength which encourages the country to test with this 16% of people in the market. If we talk about tests in the market, a country that is allowed to test with 16% of people is a negative country. And positive system refers to a system where about 80% of people are not allowed to be tested in the market freely. And this is related to diffusion theory. In regulation sandbox, it is often discussed in Korea in recent years, and how many users can be tested in Korea, even if we have a sandbox for regulation. I don't think it will be more than 1.6%. So there is this gap between Korea and other countries when it comes to user tests. Diffusion and dissemination determines game change. In other words, diffusion is most important. Some people call the era of AI infinite age of infinite creation. And we are witnessing new knowledge and emergence of new knowledge. Let's put aside an issue of copyright. This is an age of infinite digital content and infinite creation by AI. Economists have long used the terminology called the GPT, and the George Schumpeter, his students have used this terminology, and they saw the prime technologies of the human history as this equation. And the author called generative transformer a GPT, and you will see many books are titled GPT. GPT stands for generative transformer. Generative pre-trained transformer, and another GPT, the GPT we are talking about in recent days, is general purpose technology. So even though the acronyms are the same, the two have different meanings. So as I showed you this graph on all your slide, there is this peak. If you look at capitalism is a function of a bubble. It's a necessary evil. So now is the time for real competition to happen. The winners and losers are divided in the adjustment phase. That's what's scary. We can read it from this hyperscale curve. So Gartner touched upon these two: internal innovation and external innovation created by generative AI. There's always headwinds against innovation. they can get in the way of innovation. And a headwind is like the reactionary force or a risk in math. And McKinsey produced excellent survey results. What are the risks of this in this age of hyperscale AI? You can rank them. Let's take a look at the top. Inaccuracy is the biggest risk, or it can be interpreted into high hallucination. It is followed by cybersecurity and intellectual property, which is the topic of this conference. Of course, there is a regulatory compliance. So, what do you think of these words? Technology issues are topping the list. This means we are undergoing technological advancement. And the third thing, intellectual property infringement, regulatory compliance, they are related to legal issues. This is where we have to discuss more issues. So how should we address the gap between the reality and the laws and regulations? There are different types of economists. Evolutionary economists, they see economy into three different things. One is physical technology. In another space, they see is the social technology, which is laws and institutions. In these two spaces, we can add one more space, which is a space for entrepreneurs. When these three spaces are combined, a game change happens in this case, which is hyperscale AI. This is one of the perspectives I wanted to share with you in my presentation today. This is an article published by Wharton Business School. It's just a matter of degree that all companies are taking advantage of AI at a company-wide level, not at a local level. A to Z from a corporation cannot be free from AI. So companies are asked to go through a revolution, and a corporation's cash cow or business models or competitive edge have been challenged because of AI, and even they have to accept cannibalization. Destroying your existing business model is easier said than done. Let's take a look at the failure and collapse of a giant label. We talked about science and diffusion, and events happen out of changes. You already heard about them on previous slides. When we were young, a label bought overseas was a great gift for someone in Korea. And Napster, it was nobody in the past. And there was a lawsuit for piracy regarding Napster. But there are many cases that you can see that this label cannot be a winner in the history, even though it can win a lawsuit. During the litigation, we saw the emergence of another big tech giant called Apple. It was totally unexpected. So a new hegemonic power emerged. This is what I want you to focus on. When we talk about hyperscale AI or generative AI, we always face and encounter theories that makes us scared. One is a tragedy of commons. And no one will create new work in the age of hyperscale AI, according to concerns of some people, and copyright will be infringed often, and originality will be disappear and destroyed. But economists look at this in a different way. There is a market for piracy, and there will be another real market for creative work. For companies, there is a market for generative AI and another market for real creativity. So what do corporations need to do? They have to segment the markets, but we end up thinking about only one market, only one rule, or only one copyright. Copyright was introduced about 300 years ago, but copyright has been segmented. Actually, copyright should be segmented to keep up with trends in recent years. So when we talk about digital content industrial policy, we should think about how we can address the gap between change and existing laws. Yes, what was pointed out by previous speakers, I agree with that. And copyright is a serious issue. Some people say it is an era of a copyright nightmare. Some people didn't want to discuss it openly. And the professor from Emory University School of Law, actually the professor made a good point. We don't use trained data when we learn. We use abstraction of data, and there is hallucination happening and inaccuracy happening. So that is inherently creating an issue of a copyright. So how do we handle it? If it is an exclusive copyright infringement, it is easy. But if we have to train the machine by admitting that it is a proprietary asset, it is easy. And the learning method will be federated method if copyright is protected and that is ensured. That's just my personal opinion. And I talked about the speed of change especially of existing laws. There is a communist country, there is European Union. So the gap between reality and existing law, how do you address that? And some speaker previously talked about giving a grace period. That is one option, and we can let corporations have some internal regulations, and we cannot meet those internal regulations, and that will encourage companies to voluntarily compete against each other, and that is called norm at Google. We should do something. Changes are happening, and companies cannot just sit on their hands and do nothing. So they have to create norms, and the norms should be accepted by our society at the National Assembly, for example, in Korea. So what can the government do? The government, the society, and corporations, they should create social trust. There is some countries that can build this trust. Other countries, they will make their relevant laws and regulations stricter. So this is the fundamental question we need to ask. So which value chain does Korea want to be at? That's the question we need to ask right now. I think the word economics will be gone, and this is replaced by AI economics. So all prepositions and prerequisitions are breaking down, and productivity created by generative AI. Do you think they can translate it into the existing definition of a productivity or growth rate? The way to calculate growth rates or productivity was created about 100 years ago in the US. So how do we integrate growth or productivity created by AI? If we don't interpret this right, it can distort exact prediction of growth rates or productivity. We are debating over hyperscale AI. The outcome will vary depending on individuals or countries. That's what's scary. So we don't know whether we will be at the front or we will be at the tail. Many Koreans read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right after the Asian financial crisis. And the book classifies dads into 4 types: employee, self-employed, business creator, investor. What are the first two dads? They earn money by working hard. What about the other two? They employ other people to make a living. So is there any guarantee that there will be no gap between these types of debt? The same logic can be applied to countries, governments, and even families. So I wanted to ask this question: where does Korea want to be at in this value chain? I'm not going to go into detail. The balance between labor and leisure, let's talk about it. The rest, you can read it later. When Great Depression took place in the 1920s, an economist came forward and addressed the issue. And he wrote an essay for the grandchildren's generation. And he said in his essay, 100 years later, which is now, our grandchildren will have to work only 15 hours a week, 3 hours a day for 5 days a week. And there will be enough for them to make a living and prosper. Do you think we work less in this digital age? I think we are working more, twice more in this digital age. But this economist didn't predict we will have AI in the future. On my way home after work, I can ask AI to work for me. And when I wake up in the morning, I can check whether my work is done or AI got the job done. There is a labor-created content and leisure-created content. So we spend more time in leisure over time in labor. I think there will be explosion in content. So you often say art imitates reality, but I think the vice versa is true. Our life is trying to express something which is in the form of content. And we were told that human beings are social animals. But I think human beings are are lonely. So we are transitioning into an era. Everything will change. As I wrote on the slide, I think this age I predicted is coming. It will arrive soon. We often talk about platform economy. We often think about big techs only. But let's say every individual in this room is a small tech. Small tech is very powerful. Let's imagine that every one of you has an AI agent for you. And big tech cannot beat AI agents. So your AI agent will negotiate and engage in transactions. And all the apps on your smartphone will be gone, according to some people, if we have an AI agent for everyone. And the economy will be in a different shape and form in the future. There is a high possibility that we will shift to protocol economy, and a new ecosystem will be created. So I suggested these ideas at the national level. Generally, let's imagine the future of the humanity. So what issues should we discuss? We will face a content-oriented capitalism, and that should be created in a way that will favor us. We don't want any capitalism form that presents authoritarianism. So what issues should we address? This is a task for us to carry out. We have been concerned about the collision between the US and China, and I want to tell you this fact. The collision between the US and China is declining. How much is the US GDP? 25 trillion. And if it is combined with GDP of China, it is about 43 trillion. Right after Second World War, the U.S. accounted for more than 50% of global GDP. The global population is 8 billion, and U.S. population is 340 million, and China's population is 9 billion. So the two countries' population combined it is only 1.4 billion. Korean people have some complex inferiority when it comes to English. Let's say how many people in the world are speaking Chinese. Only 2.8 billion people around the world are speaking English every day. The rest of the global population is speaking more than hundreds of different languages. I'm telling you this statistic because the U.S.-China collision is only a part of phenomena we are witnessing in the world. Can you distinguish language from knowledge? Language and knowledge are part of our evolution. This is explosion of knowledge. This is explosion of content. I think digital content industry is one of the most promising industries in the world. Then how should we create the digital content industry? We have no choice but to think about division between human beings and AI. This is a very important issue. The content industry can be created by humans only or AI only. And AI can do specific jobs while humans can do other types of specific jobs. A Japanese professor wrote this idea recently. And the professor is witnessing generative AI's emergence. And he argued that we are shifting from science and technology to art. So this is his prediction. This is a very meaningful prediction. There is AI-driven content, and human-driven content. I don't know what is the clear division between the two, but we have to think about the issue of authorship. So these issues will not be defined and dealt by the conventional definition of a copyright. And the professor's name is Kunji. Margaret Fudan is a cognition researcher. And she divided this creation in the age of AI. One is combinatorial creation like never before, and the other is exploratory creation by expanding search space. And you are seeing three different things on the slide. They may look different, and I think number 3 is most important. But the problem is whether we are trained to accept number 3. Can we evolve into accepting number 3? And I found Ms. Fauden's idea very interesting. I'm going to skip the next slide because I already described that on previous slides. What I think will be next game changes. I'd like to talk about text-based content. We used to rely on text to create content. It was a linear content creation. And then there was followed by video or animation. YouTube was in wide use, or multimodal platform was in wide use. So we are, I believe, reaching the peak of multimodal platforms. And we will encounter techno-image era. This is not my argument. This was argued by Mr. Foster. Actually, he died in the 1990s. In his book, he argued that techno-imagination era will come. So hyperscale AI era will be followed by techno-imagination, according to this author. And he emphasized this word, literacy. Once we can ensure literacy, we can usher in techno-imagination era. This is a very difficult idea, so I couldn't fully understand the idea. So next game change will be in the form of techno-imagination. Is content everything? You can read the text on the slide. This is the conclusion. I've talked about evolution of digital content at the national level. That is why I told you the history of game change cases. Anthropologists say real advancement is about accepting diverse perspective. Not just only one perspective. Accepting diverse perspectives is real advancement. So the future we want is not where only a single individual or single company dominates the world. It is a world where diversity is accepted. Thank you very much, Professor Hyunsil An. He told us about the history of game-changing cases, and he presented a specific perspective. Thank you so much.
We will move on to the second presentation. From Vive Studio, the CEO Kim Se-kyun will make the next presentation on new era of content creation in generative AI. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause.
안녕하세요. 비브스
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kim Se-gyun from Viv Studio. Nice to meet you all. So I heard all your presentations well, and the technologies presented by the previous speakers are actually being applied to our content business. Our company is called Viv Studio, which is very good at immersive content generation. First of all, I would like to briefly introduce our company along with our technologies and businesses. We were founded 20 years ago. We began with the name of CGI Company, and now we are developing various AI content and technologies. 8 years ago, a company consisting of 40 employees was acquired by Facebook for $2 trillion. That company's name is Oculus. And I was trying to seize the right opportunity. I saw that the startup with 40 employees was acquired by such a big company, and that gave a great influence on the other startups and all companies involved in VR businesses. And I wanted to create a studio like Marvel Studio. So on the right side, you see Bolt, which is a digital human we created. We created VR attraction, which was launched in global markets. And for 3 consecutive years, we received the grand prize. And we also worked as a subsidiary of Disney in the past. And we created the largest scale VR theme park as well. We have created VR dedicated theater as well. And we connected the building infrastructure with the simulators. Even without visiting the theme park directly, you can experience what it is like to be a theme park in our Vive studio. And we thought that we are going to make a big hit, and we invested a lot in this studio. And we saw that the break-even point will be reached in just 2 to 3 months, but the result is that we failed in our business and we had a lot of debt. And I thought that I cannot get out of this difficulties, and I was so negative about the situation. But in 2020, many of you have watched. There was a 6-year-old child who died of a blood cancer. Her name is Nayeon, and we restored her digital human image as virtual human, and we let her mother meet with the digital human version of her passed away daughter in a broadcasting station, and that content was interviewed by BBC and many other global broadcasting stations. And since then, we became very famous. Since then, we received a lot of investment from many investors, and now we are working on virtual production solutions and virtual human solutions, which is often called visual AI. I think that we are the #1 company in this domain in Asia, and we are one of the top-tier companies in terms of this technology. Our current status: we have 21 original IP. We have 48 patents filed in Korea and in foreign countries. For 1 year, last year, the patents were applied by our company, and Our competitor is Lucasfilm. The Disney is our competitor. Virtual production and virtual human production is the area where we have the large number of patents. In this area, our competitor is Disney. You can see here that we are a uniquely competitive company, and we are also engaging with potentially unicorn business. Next summer, we will go through IPO. We have 220 employees. 20% of them are researchers. 40% of them are XR researchers, and the others are researching on visual and voice AR areas. If you visit Gwangju Gunjiam, you can see our LED wall virtual production studio. This is the second largest virtual production studio in Korea. Other studios use foreign solutions, but we have our own in-house developed VR production content. Before moving on to my presentation, I'm going to show you what we did.
엄마! 엄마 어디 있었어?
한 번만 만져보고 싶어.
As you saw from the video, you might remember what that video was about. So there have been changes that happened in our business. I am X generation. I experienced both offline and online worlds. So we saw the advancement of the internet, the mobile technology, and so on. And the last one I showed you is Vision Pro. We call this XR device. Once XR device is launched to the world, then many things will be changed in this world. And as for metaverse, I talked about VR experience. Many companies invested in VR in the past, but VR businesses have mostly failed, and many companies of VR almost went bankrupt, and they needed a breakthrough. And one of such breakthroughs is metaverse, I personally think. And we're going to talk about XR. XR is a new type of head mount device. The XR market reached 24.5 trillion Korean won, and its market value will reach 129 trillion Korean won by 2026, according to the researchers. The researchers might be correct or not in their prediction. This prediction was made when Apple has not yet released its Vision Pro. So I think this XR market size will grow further, higher than what is shown here. Our company is one of the companies that seriously engaged in XR and VR businesses and experienced very severe failure. And through the project of creating a digital human of a passed away daughter, since that project was conducted, we revived our company's businesses again. And we have all the employees who have been working with me from the very beginning of our company's foundation. Meta is a great company, but I think Apple is really going to make a change in this market. Because this is not just a business that can be done by an internet company, it also requires manufacturing capacity. 40 years ago, Apple achieved the greater penetration of computers, and then Apple successfully launched smartphones, and with iPhone, Apple changed the experience of the users totally. Apple has experience both in hardware and software and insight into consumers. Apple said, what we are doing is not just VR XR device, but special computing. So by the first half of next year, Apple will release from 500,000 to 600,000 Vision Pros. I guess all of them will be completely sold out. The AR glasses were supposed to be transparent and lightweight. In 5 years from now on, they will be able to release Vision Pro at the size of eyeglasses. XR technologies are being used in many different domains. And I'm going to talk about what we are doing by showing you the video. We are doing 3 things: VIT, virtual production solution, and digital twin, and AI-based virtual human production, copying the reality into virtual reality and making improvement. This is what we do. And we need 2 things. Game engine is dominating this industry. We need game engine experts, artists, and AI developers, and the relevant technologies are essential factors we need to have. If we have all these factors, we can advance into any industry and acquire unique competitiveness. So have you heard of virtual production? Could you answer my question? Some of you might know about this, some others do not know. Even without going to direct location, you can shoot a film in this virtual production environment based on the use of LED wall. 3 to 4 years ago, a film director named John Pablo who produced the Iron Man in the US. He has such a progressive mind. In Disney Plus, the Mandalorian, the spin-off of Star Wars is being run, and he produced that content through virtual production. And the making film was disclosed, and the basic technology is VR. VR equipment and HDD were used, and they advanced the relevant technologies. All studios and producers are following this LED-based virtual production method. There are about 500 such virtual production studios across the world. Because they use micro LED, and bringing the micro LED to studio cost a lot of money, but mass production of the LED became possible through Chinese manufacturers, and there was support for the industry along with infrastructure being established centered around the game industry. This is the content we produced in our studio, 100% LED virtual production.
언리얼 엔진 본사하고
Together with the headquarters of Onion Range, we have an alliance, a virtual production studio. We had a forum in our company, and we discussed 2 scenes. This is one of those scenes. The VP head of Onion Range actually hailed our production capability. So the virtual production market will reach this level. I often proceed with IR events, and so this is the level of market growth we expect just for B2B, including films, broadcasting, programs. We expect the virtual production market will increase, and B2C is one of the areas where we see great potential. Creators, film producers, and broadcasting stations can make more use of virtual production. So the market size for virtual production will grow even higher than the figures you see on the slide. By using the VR solutions, we conducted various experiments, and next year we will launch official enhanced versions of virtual production. This is our digital twin technology. We used LiDAR's scanner. We apply this to game engine. So we are proceeding with various projects.
저희 방산 사업도 하거든요.
We're also participating in the national defense industry. If they want to make an unmanned AI drone, they need to simulate the model. They need a simulation model. So our technology is used for simulating unmanned AI drone. So we have great potential to work in various domains. Usually I need 1 hour to make a very entertaining presentation. I wish I had more time for presentation. This is how our system is composed.
Solutions made by artists. For artists. VIT is a virtual production environment where every single piece of equipment is connected.
저희 스튜디오입니다.
This is our studio.
Can be created faster,
여기에
easier,
So this is where we use AI technology.
powerful enough for everyone. Create a wide variety of effects quickly and simply in real time. Change your filming location in an instant.
제가 말로
Due to time constraint, I would like to explain about this myself. We created VIT solution for users, including artists, and for R&D experts. We have a good organization in harmony among R&D employees and artists. Beginning with media server, we applied XR technology. So we expanded our LED walls. I wanted to show the live content at the quality of a film or drama. So we created VIT solution and we received support from the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism. Many core technologies are applied, including auto-calibration. We have to achieve synchronization between the reality and the virtual reality. That requires this lens, and we need high-resolution LED. Although it depends on the budget of the company, various technologies are being applied, including both software and AI technologies. This is comparison between foreign solutions and our solutions. We are making improvement in all of our solutions to achieve user-oriented solutions. Next one is People, our virtual human, that was produced through our generative AI technology.
저희 그 도산
We have an office in Busan, and our R&D center is also there. You can see how a person's face is changed on a real-time basis.
저희는 이미지 생성
1 year ago, we developed the image generation models already. We are thinking about how to commercialize this service. From next year, you'll be able to see how our technologies are being applied to various applications and services. My English name is Stan. Have you heard of Neom City? That is a project that is worth 1,300 trillion Korean won. Through the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport, we have joined that project to construct Neom City of Saudi Arabia. One of the project elements is to create a global entertainment hub. So the relevant video image is uploaded to the YouTube. So we thought that we want to provide not just solutions, but also other things. We offer consultings and we also establish the relevant infrastructure as well. And we are joining, we have participated in the Neom City project. There's a POC complex in Neom City. We went there and had a meeting. In July, the executives from Neom City visited Korea and 8 companies made a presentation, and one of the companies were our company, and we demonstrated our technology. And the executives from Saudi Arabia were not using translators, so they asked us to make presentation in English without interpreters. We wanted to show something splendid to the guest from Saudi Arabia, so we used AI cloning technology and text-to-speech technology. So we created Neostin and had it make a presentation in English. I'll show you that video.
Hello, I am virtual human Neo Stanley, created by Stanley Kim.
이거는 텍스트를
I am
스크립트를
currently in
입력하면
If you enter text, it right away generates image and speech.
multiple times, and it's a pity I can't experience it with all of you. I'm here at the studio to discuss today's topic. You can see that I can manipulate time and space according to my desires. With this advantage, I can appear on screens or in virtual areas seen in movies, dramas, and other visual mediums. I can even replicate real actors' realistic movements and expressions using motion capture technology. I can handle a 24-hour full schedule anytime, leading to cost savings. Another advantage is that I can maintain a character's beauty indefinitely and adjust their age, whether to make them look younger or older. Furthermore, as an AI clone-based virtual human, I can engage with users and interact within the social VR community, which is already familiar to the digital native Z Alpha generations. The augmented reality entertainment industry is expected to accelerate as more people start using XR devices. If that happens, the following presentation might not be on a screen but on this stage, allowing you to experience my presentation more vividly. Also, I won't need to attend English classes. I can speak multiple languages by combining AI clone technology and text-to-speech technology. Hi, my name is Neo Stanley.
Konnichiwa, Neo Stanley desu. Hallo, mein Name ist Neo Stanley. Bonjour, je m'appelle Neo Stanley.
I can simultaneously broadcast in various languages and implement different voices and facial features according to different countries. With just a single image, I can easily and freely transform faces. Unlike the weeks or months required for 3D modeling, This face swap happens in real time and allows for various performances. Creating virtual humans involves the application of AI clones, TTS, faceless web, and re-aging technologies. It's built upon generative AI methods. The market size for virtual human influencers is expected to reach nearly $10 billion by 2025, a growth of 7 times compared to 2020. Therefore, by 2025, the virtual human influencer market is anticipated to surpass the traditional human influencer market. Furthermore, the virtual human market is projected to reach nearly $353 billion by 2024, almost 50 times 2019. By 2030, it's estimated to become a $510 billion market. This concept can expand not only into broadcasting and movies but also into games, entertainment, news, and services, leveraging the unique IPs of virtual humans. Virtual humans can be utilized in XR, AR concerts and live performances, offering live events anywhere. If popularity grows and fandom builds, it could extend to a business model involving digital collectibles and personal virtual human ownership. The virtual human market is continuously increasing, and I believe that the day we can easily experience it in our daily lives is approaching. The next time I stand before you, I expect to give a tangible presentation on this stage rather than a screen, passing the microphone to the real Stanley in the physical world.
이쪽인데. 정확히 얘기하면 이거는 영상에
Precisely speaking, this image has technology from PTS, which is combined with the video that we produced. So this digital human is making money on behalf of me. YouTubers or creators will be able to use this kind of technologies as a package service. In some sense, it is somewhat frightening to imagine the kind of future where AI writes down all the scriptures and only 20% of the scriptures are revised by human artists. And quantum computing is soon going to evolve at a higher level. Then in the future, usually for now, it takes 2 to 3 years to produce a film, but in the very future, it will take only 1 day to produce a film. So the concept of occupation will become totally different from what we think now. So I think we need to take this seriously and be prepared for the totally different future. Now, there are many experts in the area of copyright, so I am humbled to stay here. While conducting R&D activities and creating a service model, we experienced some copyright issues. And we also have legal advisors. We do not create large model, but we are focusing on developing service models. Because we cannot compete against a company that runs 80,000 GPUs. When internet appeared and many search engines appeared in the past, we experienced challenges, and the similar things will happen. If we have our own competitive edge in service models, we could become the next Google for the future. From next year, we will be able to show you what we have been developing. In order to create a model, Stable Diffusion and many generative AI companies are doing many things. In order to create an animation-like image, There are companies that disclose their animation models, but I cannot trust them 100% because I cannot trust if they solved all the copyright issues or not. But fortunately, the kind of models that we want can be secured through our cooperation with our partners. We can outsource our partners to create a model themselves without using other copyrighted works, then we will not be in any trouble related to copyright.
보여드렸던 이 모든
So, all these things can be combined into a business. Once we achieve this vision, then we will become a company that moves beyond the level of Disney or Next Asia's digital Disney. Thank you very much for your presentation. He shared with us how the future content environment is being shaped. We have high expectation for the content that your company is going to generate. Thank you very much for your presentation.
The next speaker is Professor Jin-Young Lee from Stanford University. The topic she's going to discuss is creating a brain digital twin. Please welcome her with a big round of applause. Good afternoon, everyone. I've never been to a copyright conference before. I learned a lot, and I'm really enjoying this conference. Today, the topic I'm going to discuss is about my business. You've just heard what it will take to create different digital content, and you heard about digital twin. In my business, we are creating digital twin of the brain. As I said earlier, I've never been to a copyright conference before, but about 2 weeks ago, I went to a gathering where people discuss what impact AI will have in our society. In healthcare, AI has become very influential, and these gatherings show that AI has brought a lot of game-changing cases. We are envisioning the future in this conference, specifically future brought by AI. And I personally thought AI is capable and it will be more powerful. And in many areas, we are advancing and developing technologies. Technologies are technologies, and it is a human's choice when it comes to how to use the technologies. And humans are required to make a choice when developing technologies. So our choice will matter. You can see this from a movie. There is a difference between a good protagonist and a villain. What sets them apart, what sets a good person from a villain, is the choice he makes. Not only in the era of digital, but in the era of AI, things are changing fast. And we are living in this game-changing era, and people are thinking about how to become a rich dad. And it is very important to have the right worldview when making a decision. The number one worldview is to become beneficial to the humanity. So I'm talking about AI in this copyright conference. And I'd like to say we have to develop a technology that is beneficial to human beings. I'm an electrical engineer. And computational power has been developed by the domain of electric engineer. My grandmother had a stroke, and he suffered for quite long, and that made me a change. That made me change my career path. As Professor Hyun-sil An said, he actually told us about game changes. There is no breakthrough in treatment to brain diseases and conditions. Actually, we are living in an era where there is no cure to brain diseases. There is no right way in learning. I think the same theory can be applied to brain condition research. If you want to pick up fruit, you have to create a machine that can help you reach fruits hanging high. To change the landscape of brain condition, there have many attempts. And I received support from the Ministry of Health in the US. My lab is located in Stanford. And this is the building where my lab is located. You can see it on the left-hand side. And neuroscience is also home to one of our labs. My work borders around different domains. So I'm belonging to 4 different departments. So I have many bosses. This is the building where my lab is located. To facilitate my research, I wanted to have this machine, and it took 10 years for me to have this. And I have been working on my research with the help of this machine. Let me briefly tell you my research. As the title of my presentation says, we are creating digital twin of the brain. All brain conditions, all types of brain conditions are increasing fast. Yes, AI has changed a lot of things, but once you are diagnosed with a brain condition, there's nothing you can do. And brain diseases are growing fast, and neurodegenerative diseases such as dementia are growing fast, and neurodevelopmental diseases that are diseases witnesses at an early development phase are increasing fast, and infectious diseases are growing fast as well. Once you are diagnosed with a brain condition, everything is done. You cannot picture a brighter future for you. There's nothing you can do even with the help of AI. You will lose your memory as well. The number of patients with brain diseases is increasing and reaching 1 billion around the world, and it costs $1 trillion in the US alone. This is not about treatment, this is about cure. So brain diseases will disable you. The healthcare costs are supported by the government. Actually, governments around the world. So it's not a problem that should be dealt at the corporate level or individual level. So many governments around the world made a huge investment. I'm not saying those investments are not effective. What I'm saying is despite those investments, we are not seeing a game change in this domain. As I showed you the curve is going up sharply. There are no technologies in place for now that can have an impact on the curve. So the pharmaceutical industry has made huge investments in creating medicine. It takes about more than 1 trillion to develop a new drug. But those new drugs failed in last year and this year. two different drugs were approved by the FDA. That doesn't mean that they will be effective to cure of brain diseases. And those drugs and medicine will be used to get rid of bulk of proteins in your brain. So patients at the early age of brain diseases were gathered to be tested for this new drug, but there are also counter effects of this new drug. So that should be what we have to be careful about. And digital therapy is about changing your lifestyle or habits. Having a disease in your brain is a serious problem. There is almost no possibility that digital therapy will give new hope. In electroceutical is an approach where you can directly stimulate brain circuits, and this was created by Elon Musk. So you put electrical nodes into your brain. And this method can be applied to patients with Parkinson's disease or epilepsy. Once it is effective, those patients can stop shaking. But the current approach doesn't offer clear answers. They are just trying this method. But the problem here is that people don't understand why this doesn't work and what they should change in the design. It's the same as just hitting a broken machine, and clinical trial of this approach will take $500 million, and no one can say for sure that this will be effective for patients with brain diseases. So there is no cure to brain conditions. I think it is because our goal was not set right. What do we need to restore brain function? You have been thinking about copyright only throughout the day, so your brain function has deteriorated, I guess. You have to measure your brain function to restore your brain function. So this is a scale. To control your weight, you have to measure your weight, and you have to put on the scale to measure your weight. So this is the only way to measure your brain function. So this is a survey or questionnaire. There are check boxes. Let's say your digital device is broken. And it's like you are communicating with a broken digital device to fix it. So to change the game, what do we need? My idea was digital twin. Digital twin in a general term is different from digital twin in the brain disease domain. To create a digital twin of this space, you have to know everything about this place. But we don't know how the brain works. So digital twin that I'm referring to here is to identify and find out how the brain works. So I have to create something. It's not creating something from the scratch. It's about measuring what is happening in the brain. And based on that, I can create a digital twin of the brain. and they will tell us how the brain works and help us diagnose brain diseases more easily. That's what I studied for more than 15 years. I spent my career solely on this research area. So I've studied how the brain circuit works, and I succeeded. I successfully developed this approach, and I created a digital twin of the brain. So my lab can replicate the brain, which I call digital twin of the brain. In your brain, there are billions of neurons in you. It takes several months to measure what is happening between the neurons. And it is more difficult to do this on human brain than doing it on lab animals. So we can do this experiment digitally. I'm not saying we can deal with all the possible scenarios, but at least we can make replication of the brain. They will tell us which therapeutic method should be used to predict which brain diseases. The next step was to find out how proteins in your brain move around in your brain. And this can be an area where AI can be used. We created an experiment and we did data processing, and based on the data processing, we came up with a theory to identify how protein is moving around in the brain. And we developed modeling, and protein balls were measured like this, and protein decreased where brain activity increases, and vice versa. And this was new discovery, and this new technology helped us find that out. So with this technology, we can replicate a specific function of the brain, and that will help us predict how that area of the brain works. And that will let us use certain treatment to that specific area. Furthermore, let's say there is a leftover of a protein in your brains you don't want to have. And we can also figure out the relationship between the leftover and other neurons. And genetic expression can be also understood by this technology. The reason we developed this technology is we didn't want to be helpless when it comes to brain diseases. We want to control brain diseases and conditions. That's the motivation for me to develop this technology. To use this for patients, it takes more than writing a thesis. That is why I founded ELVIS. It stands for Live Visualization of Brain Circuits. ELVIS created a solution called NeuroMatch. It is a platform to create It is about understanding communication within your brain, And the ultimate goal here is to stay healthy, to help make your brain stay healthy. I had an interview of a job seeker, and I asked him if he knows what my company is doing. And the interviewee said he understands my company is creating GPS within the brain. So it's not that we don't understand what is going on in our brain anymore. We are trying to navigate through our brain. So AI is basically used, but that's not the primary technology. AI will help us move from manual process to automatic process, and basically it provides network. Basically, it is us and neural match we develop that provides necessary information. So as I said, there's no cure for brain diseases, but brain diseases are increasing exponentially, and it takes you have to wait more than a year to see a doctor and be diagnosed with your brain disease. So to tackle this, to help people have easier access to diagnosis tool, we created this web-based tool. Let's say there is a patient in a remote area. This patient can have access to this web-based tool and can make informed decisions. So information in your brain can be networked and used for digital twin for your brain, of your brain. We can create and develop a new treatment approach. That's the design of neural match. Stanford has a startup accelerator programs, and Elvis was supported by the startup programs about 5 years ago. We thought we may be able to use this approach for patients. So this has been a long journey. Now we have patient data, and this is a screenshot of neural match, and it shows which area went wrong, and this will help doctors diagnose the disease more easily. And it also offers information and data that were not available before. And we heard about game change of AI. Without a game change, we cannot imagine a brighter future. So by using the digital twin technology, we can tackle these problems, and my company is trying to contribute to tackling those issues. And we are working on epilepsy, Alzheimer's, sleeping disorder, Parkinson's disease, and autism. Starting at the end of this year, we will apply our tests, and we have this plan for each year. When iPhones were not available, it was difficult to collect information and compile them. But my platform, I'm sure, will help that to be processed much easier. So this is a copyright conference. My topic is a healthcare domain. The copyright is highly regulated, and my domain of healthcare is also highly regulated. And AI and content in the medical domain, the regulations in this domain are very strict. Once again, my company, Elvis, is located in Palo Alto, and we have a branch office in Daegu. And there is another branch office that has developed therapies. So Elvis' primary goal is to change the pessimistic future of brain diseases, and we are targeting to process data fast. Because that will be very important to survival of the humanity. 7% of the global GDP will be spent on managing Alzheimer. We are still spending so much money, but the output is not good enough. And these technologies can be used by healthcare providers, and the costs will be paid by insurance companies. And these technologies can help save money. And we heard a lot of models managing data. So we don't have enough data to manage brain diseases. There's no organized system. So there is so many things that we don't know. So NeuroMatch, our technology, will enable us to create a future where individuals can be more active at staying healthy.
정도의 상황에서 클리닉이나
Even at clinics and private hospitals, brain information will be shared and used. Doctors and nurses and technologists and technicians have meetings to share more data and information, and this technology will be conducive to facilitating the meetings, and this will help strategize their visions, and this will also be helpful to administration. It will also be helpful to save money at insurance companies. So how should we use digital twin to tackle brain diseases facing the humanity? I said I prefer to create a machine of picking apples. Once you understand how your brain works, you will be able to understand how AI can be helpful. AI sounds attractive because it helps us do what is not possible before. Extensive computing resources are used for AI computing. With that resource available to my brain, I think I can do more. Human intelligence is designed to minimize energy consumption. I think general AI will not be realized. We have used computing resources to believe that we will be able to treat brain conditions and diseases. Now we are trying to understand the algorithm used to make the brain work. I think someday we can create an AI that is more accessible to the humanity. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for introducing the new innovative technology. Once again, please give Professor Jin Young Lee a big round of applause.
Now we have the last presentation waiting for us. From ICOTEC, Ms. Ruby Wang will make presentation on generative AI avatar. Let us have a look at the video.
Is a digital assistant representing ICOTEC. It is an honor to speak at the International Copyright Technology Conference 2023. Today, we are thrilled to share our experiences and insights in the realm of innovative AI technology to empower copyrights. I would like to extend a warm welcome to my colleague, Ruby, who will be presenting next.
Yeah, thank you, Liz, and hello everyone. I'm Ruby, a creative product lead from the ICOTEC team. It's a pleasure to be here speaking on behalf of ICOTEC. But firstly, I would like to quickly introduce ICOTEC and myself a little bit. So ICOTEC is an AI company founded in London in 2015, dedicated to multimodal AI and low-resource speech solutions. We have delivered solutions integrating generative AI and the digital avatar to many leading global companies in different industries. Since 2019, ICOTEC has been delivering service to clients in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, standing as the best provider of Arabic AI solutions worldwide. And here we have some key partners on the right-hand side, and you can see Neum, ADGM, Roshim. Notably, ICOTEC is also an award-winning company with many international awards, such as for CES Award and the London Business Award. And recently, we even got selected by the Dubai Future Program. And we have started developing solutions with different Dubai government entities. Regarding me, I joined ICOTEC a year ago and have been working on a diverse range of projects with clients such as ADGM and Roshing. Currently, I'm also engaged in a collaboration with Dubai Future. Throughout this experience, my team and I have crafted tailor-made AI solutions, starting from the scratch to fulfill unique client requirements. Drawing from the knowledge and insights from these ventures, I would like to share some valuable perspectives on how AI transforms copyright materials. Today's theme is empowering copyright, generative AI avatars leading the transformation in the digital age. And the presentation will be divided into three main parts. So we will begin by examining some key challenges in copyright. In the second part, I will talk about the approach for resolving these issues, focusing on the generative AI avatar solution. And to provide a more comprehensive understanding, I will elaborate on the solution and the technology using ICOTEC as an example. And eventually, I will conclude by introducing ICOTEC's advantage in this area. So let's get started. First, I wonder if anyone of you have ever heard about ABBA. So you may be probably familiar with one of their famous songs, for example, Dancing Queen. So ABBA is actually a Swedish pop super group from in Stockholm in 1972. Although they have stepped back from the limelight for a period, they've now released a new album after 40 years. And yes, they were now transformed into digital avatar as the image show and already returned to the stage. So everyone now in London actually can go to their concerts. You can see their posters in the underground. It's like we are witnessing the future, a future that the artistic life of musicians can be extended through this kind of technology, virtualization. And likewise, there are more valuable intellectual properties that hold the same potential as you can see on the right-hand side. And however, most of them remain inaccessible to a broader audience because of the time and other factors like a cost, geography limitations. All these create the barriers that prevent people from accessing them. And for example, the fading recognition of even a name as iconic as Michael Jackson, right? And at the same time, these intellectual properties that do not incorporate different forms of media, like today we have not only text, image, but also audio, video, and those are not multilingual, will find it really difficult to attract and retain the interest of the audience. But fortunately, we can learn from Abba's experience. We can bring the old artists with physical limitations come back to the stage, and the young artists can perform what cannot be done with their real body, and even the diseased people or the artists can return to the world again. So how can we unlock the full potential of this intellectual property and generate revenue once again? Let's first look at this video.
Hello.
Hello. I was daydreaming about what it would be like to have a body.
What's your name?
They call me Albert Einstein. It's good to meet you.
How old are you?
He died at the age of 76.
Okay, 76 years. You must have known this man, right? Yes, he's Einstein, and it's truly surprising that we can engage with him today again. And yes, he has been transformed into an avatar, and now users can be able to communicate with him in the real time. And yeah, this so-called generative AI avatar represents a revolutionary approach to create and distribute copyrighted material, and then these materials can interact with the audience in different ways. So the generative AI avatar combines the power of AI with a visual representation to create a more engaging and interactive experience for audience. And the generative part actually means that the avatar isn't just replaying the pre-programmed response. Instead, it can generate the new response based on the text, context, and the information it receives. So this makes the interaction feel more natural and dynamic, like you're having the conversation with a real person. And generally, the commercial scenarios for this generative AI avatar can be divided into two big categories. So one is customer facing, and the other one is corporate facing. So after this intellectual property transforms into the digital avatar, they can be applied to sales marketing, customer service, and IoT, smart hub, these kinds of customer-facing use cases. And in the corporate-facing use cases, we can consider something like the training assistant, IT assistant, and HR assistant. So they can provide the assistance and improve the overall operational efficiency inside the organization. So we all believe that the IP's impact can be significantly upgraded with this kind of a solution. But to start, we will need to create a lifelike virtual face and the body for them. So the avatar version of them can bring a more human touch to the audience, bridging the gap between technology and humanity. Furthermore, this can contribute to the visual appeal, so they can serve as an interface that simplifies even the most complex information. And by personalizing the engagements, we show our audience that we are not just keeping up with the time, but actively leading the way into a more user-centric future. So how does ICOTEC create avatars? Well, ICOTEC combines a multimodal solution and the 3D solution to make the avatar more impactful and attractive. So put it simply, we support flexible input and output models. Not only text, but we also support like speech and video, allowing us to cater to diverse user preference and needs. We also utilize 3D solution to create the avatar with a 360-degree view. So this ensures a more immersive environment than 2D solution. And it allows any customization and the modification without additional training. So just like the video here, I'm gonna play this. Yeah, we can see it's super convenient when you would like to change the background, the lighting, or the hairstyle of the avatar, etc. The next, after we create the avatar, we can now think about the applications to face different scenarios. So imagine your intellectual property come to life as a speaker in the video, engaging your audience with a personalized touch, from storytelling to social media interactions, and also like long tail advertising. And all this can be communicated in different languages. And we are able to reduce the production time in the process, allowing for a quicker turnaround and a greater agility in content creation. So let's quickly take a look at this demo and you can get the idea.
So if you're looking for a way to take your communication and marketing efforts to the next level, consider using a digital avatar like myself. We are confident that we can help you achieve your goals, save you time and money, and make a lasting impression on your target audience.
Yeah, and for this solution, ICOTEC has developed a platform for generating this kind of video of avatars, and everything can be tailor-made on this platform actually. So first you can choose whatever language you want. We support over 20 languages, and this includes like global languages such as English, French, Spanish, and Korean and Arabic. But what's truly impressive is our low resource model. So with this model, we can use only 20 hours of language data that adapt to a totally new language, which is pretty efficient. And secondly, we can generate the video in almost real time. We have transformed the traditional 70-minute video generation process into something like now can be done in less than 1 second. And the ICOTEC Sync AI ensures a lifelike interaction for the avatar. And we just need a text file or the audio file, and the corresponding speech, facial expression, and even body movement can be generated. And this technology can also be applied to any kind of cartoon characters. And we also support API. And the avatar can emphasize the words and the prosody like a human, like for example, the pause between each sentence. And we can do voice cloning as per the requirement. So let's do a very quick quiz. Let's first listen to these two audios and please guess which one is synthetic and which one is the voice of the real human.
All students can go to their classrooms now. One day, beautiful new dresses arrived at the house.
Okay, so yeah, actually it's quite hard to tell which one is real one, which one is the synthetic one. And actually the answer is the last one is synthetic. As it's extremely similar to the real human voice, we can't even tell it. And this also demonstrates ICOTEC's expertise in creating children's voice, which is thought to be very difficult to do in the industry. Now let's turn our attention to a powerful tool that can revolutionize sales and business development, which is an AI chatbot. So whether it's sales materials or the extractional content, all these materials can be uploaded and the AI will learn from them. Then we can bring your IP, your IP transformed into an avatar, and then your avatar can representing your brand voice and values, then providing immediate relevant information to your audience on this chatbot. And this chatbot offers definitely 24 hours, 7 days availability and multilingual support. But even more, you can gain deep insights into the effectiveness of your content. So we will provide the key analytics and the invaluable feedback. Then you will know how to enhance your materials for later, even greater impact. And here we also have a demo video to provide you with a better understanding of this solution. Yeah, so we choose one of the most well-known K-pop groups in Korea, which is BTS company, their website as an example. And yeah, we now uploaded this, and you will quickly get a chatbot generated. And then now you can ask any question, and the avatar can answer any of your questions now. Okay, great.
So if you're looking for a way to take your communication and
So ICOTEC revolutionized the development with which called no-code approach, which means our generative AI empowers people who have no coding background can easily create this kind of conversational experience for users. And we also consider the flexibility in data handling and the elimination of complex data collection. So unlike many other chatbot solutions, ours doesn't require data gathering efforts. And finally, the security is very important. That's why we offer the flexibility of on-premise deployment. So this ensures that your sensitive information remains in your hand where it belongs. And the last one, let's explore the interactive generative AI avatar. So this is a tool designed to facilitate seamless interactions. So you can engage with the avatar, your IP in real time, and you will get the instant response to queries, ensuring an efficient exchange of the information. And we can experience the power of real-time updating. So which means the information provided by the avatar is actually always current and accurate. We have no need to do it manually. And the multilingual support also ensures the accessibility for a global audience, expand your global reach. So yeah, let's have a look at this demo.
Hello.
Hello. How can I assist you today?
I'm going to Dubai with my family. Can you recommend 3 places to visit?
Sure, you may want to visit the Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall, and the Dubai Miracle Garden with your family.
Great, thanks. Do you have any recommended local food restaurants in Dubai?
Okay, yeah, so for this solution, text-to-speech and the speech-to-text capabilities are essential. And we are proud to say that we are one of the best providers in the world. For example, as you see in the right hand, in Arabic, our speech-to-text performance surpassed other leading players in the world by 30%. And meanwhile, English is also on the top tier. Regarding the text-to-speech, our Saudi Arabian text-to-speech reached an impressive accuracy of 93%, also surpassing the competition. And when integrated with the avatar, the large language model forms the core of the solution. So the avatar uses the language models capability to generate a response in real time. This means that the avatar can produce new and relevant content based on the input it receives from the users. So this is what makes the avatar feel more human-like and adaptable. And we talked about so many scenarios for applying intellectual properties as avatars. So what can we exactly expect from the solutions? Well, first, we can precisely control the costs, absolutely. For example, when using the AI-empowered videos I just mentioned, production costs are only 10% of the cost of a real-world shooting. And according to industry insider, once the digital avatar is created, the new content can be generated faster and at a lower cost. And this also means that creating high quality content can be like almost 50% faster than traditional way. And one of the strengths is also obvious, so its ability to cross language barriers, which is particularly important for a country's international cooperation and sales. So with multilingual support, we are able to bridge the language gap and ensure seamless interactions with partners, customers, and audience from different linguistic backgrounds. I also include some well-known Korean IPs that we can have a look. I think they all have the great potential to create a more even bigger like impact with the addition of a multilingual support. And actually, I'm a fan of Loopy. So if Loopy could speak in English and in different videos, I'm sure that Loopy would be even more popular over the world. And the last one, we can consider like this kind of generative AI avatars are actually flexible in terms of the distribution and can be adapted to a variety of platforms and channels. This adaptability ensures that our content can be easily used across a variety of public platforms, social media, mobile apps, kiosks, and even more. So with this kind of solution, we are no longer limited by our platform, but gain the power of them. In the next section, I would like to introduce the advantage of Emotek's generative AI avatar solution, so which can be broken down into three key aspects. So firstly, we pride ourselves on having these innovative AI-empowered technologies, which makes our avatar feel incredibly lifelike and remain at the forefront in the industry. And secondly, our design capabilities are on par with what you can find in Hollywood, not only the 3D avatar creation, but also like the UI, UX design for the interface. And most importantly, like even like every piece of the technology we use is actually developed in-house. So we understand the importance of the data security, which is why all technologies can be locally deployed, and any customization and modification can be done in a very short period of time because we are in-house. And next, it's our talent teams. So it is our talent teams expertise and the dedication that has led to the development of these innovative technologies and solutions. So as you see, Emotek gathers leading expertise in different domains with track records in various industries. And we also have many PhDs and MSCs from top global universities. And we also have some scientific advisors to ensure our technology advantage. Like John Shaw Taylor is the chairman of the UNESCO AI Center, a pioneer in the machine learning area. And he is also the professor of our co-founder, actually. And then Yvonne Rogers is the global #1 human computer interaction professor. And she gave us a lot of instructions. Steve and Thomas are experts in the speech technology area. And here are some Emotek's significant track records that also demonstrate our rich experience in creating AI avatar solution. So we create the world first city ambassador for NEOM, and also for ADGM, we develop employee training courses using the AI video and digital avatar. We also offered an avatar for China Mobile at last year's GITEX for promotion purpose. And now we are working with Roxin on creating an avatar to drive the property sales. Yeah, as we draw to a close, I want to extend my gratitude once again for giving me this opportunity to discuss the potential of AI solutions in addressing the challenges in copyright. And it has been a privilege to showcase Emotek's technologies and the advantage we bring to this field. So yeah, that's all for my presentation. Thank you everyone, and have a great day.